Well, hello and welcome back. Minnesota Vikings football on the air, online, all across the SSN. We don't have a game this week. It's our bye week, so it's time for Randy Replay's second favorite time of the year, the bye week Extravaganza. Every year we do this midway through, usually on the team's bye week, usually around week 8. This year the team has drawn the week 7 bye. As you can see in the middle of your screen, available salary cap for the remainder of the 2024-2025 campaign. Actually, 2023-2024 campaign, $115 million. The team has employed 52 players out of the 53 spots available. Through 6 games, the Vikings are number 2 in points per game at 57.8. Offensive yards passing, 464. That's good for 3rd in the NFL. Rushing, number 1 rushing team in the NFL. Behind Dalvin Cook, 237 yards per game average. Defensively, it's a much different story. We are allowing 48.8 average points a game. We are letting passing yards in bunches, 474 our average thrown against. And then defensively, against the run, surprisingly not as bad as it looks on paper. 174.6. It feels worse when you're going through the grinder of a 4-hour football game. Through 6 weeks, the Minnesota Vikings are 5-1. We are number 1 in the NFC North, the reigning defending top of the NFC North champions. Minnesota Vikings 1 game ahead. The Packers are 4-2, obviously. The Bears are 3-3. The Lions 2-3. Let's get you ready for some stats here and see where your Minnesota Vikings are near midway through the season, right before the trade deadline here. Patrick Mahomes, 2,855 yards. He is 201 for 281. That is 71% completion percentage. For those of you that did not know how to do math or simply didn't look over here. 29 touchdowns and 9 picks. A far cry from what Kirk Cousins was at. Longest pass of 80 yards. Tyler Van Dyke coming in substitution, the rookie quarterback, 6'4", 224 out of Miami. 8 yards, 1 for 5, and 2 picks. So he is what we thought he was. Rushing, Dalvin Cook, number 1 running back in the NFL. Excuse me, in terms of carries and yardage, 237 for 1270. Just recorded his 10th and 11th touchdown last week against the Falcons in the heartbreaking loss at US Bank Stadium. He does have 1 fumble on the season. Mo Ibrahim, rookie running back from Minnesota. By way of the Gophers, coming over by way of the Colts in a trade. 26 for 106 and a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, 8 rushes, 32 yards, and a touchdown. Just scored his first touchdown of the year last week in a RPO. Adam Thielen, 1 for 8 off the pesky end around. And then CJ Ham, 1 for 8 on the season. In the receiving game, number 1 wide receiver in terms of catches in the NFL. I'm going to fact check real quick. Yep. Justin Jefferson, not in terms of yardage, as you may have just seen, 73 catches, 1,281 yards, 17 touchdowns through 5 games. Mahomes and him are locked and loaded. Longest catch of 61. Adam Thielen is the owner of the longest pass from Patrick Mahomes, that being 80 yards. He has 52 catches, 647. Let's put this into perspective. 20 catches less than JJ, half the yardage. That is how crazy JJ is playing in year number 3. Oh boy. 5 touchdowns for Adam Thielen. TJ the Hawk Hawkinson, 24 catches, 326, 1 touchdown. Dalvin Cook, 21, 177 and 2 touchdowns out of the backfield. KJ, 19 for 288, 3 touchdowns. It really falls off here, just to let you know. Josh Oliver, 5 catches, 69. Nice. Yards, 1 touchdown on the season. CJ Ham, 3 for 13. Jelani Woods, 3 for 47. Smith and Jigba, the rookie, taken first. I do believe they're first of 5 picks, if I remember correctly. 1 catch, 7 yards, No touchdowns on the season, but he is a rookie. Tyler Harrell, their last pick, near the last pick in the draft, 1 catch, 8 yards on the season. Nobody. Nobody. And we mean nobody cares about blocking. Going to go to defense and look at total tackles. And it's Eric Hendricks. Prior to going out last season due to injury, he has been up in the top echelon of tackles for the Minnesota Vikings as a team leader. No surprise here. He is leading through 5 games. 66 tackles for him. Javon Holland, 65. Lewis Seen goes for 57. Jordan Hicks has 52. Jalen Johnson, 50. Cam Dantzler, who we're gonna talk about here in a minute, 46. Trayvon Diggs with 37. Danielle Hunter with 16 prior to his injury that sidelined him for the last 4 weeks. DJ Wanham has 16. Harrison Phillips with 12. Andre Carter, not Aaron Carter, oh my gosh, and Jaquelin Roy each have 9. Andrew Booth with 8. Kalen Barnes with 7. Siaki Ika, Owen Papo and Chris Harris each have 6. Caleb Evans and Ezrin Cooper with 5. Xavier Thomas with 4. Cam Bynum, Patrick Jones, Brian Asamoah, and Gervin Dexter with 3. And then one of the linebackers that Randy Replay is really, really high on, Troy Dye, with just 1. No, it doesn't do it justice, but it is for a loss. Tackles for loss leaders, we have Danielle Hunter at 6, Eric Hendricks, Jordan Hicks, and DJ Wadham with 4, Seen, Phillips, and Carter, and Ika with 3, Holland, Roy with 2, Johnson, Dantzler, we'll talk about him in just a minute, Trayvon Diggs, Booth, Caleb Evans, Bynum, and Troy Dye each with 1. Sacks. DJ Wadham leads the team 5 games. He has 4 sacks to show. 6 games, rather. Not bad. Danielle Hunter with 3. Jaquelin Roy with 2. Andre Carter with 1.5. Good start to his rookie season. Going to be a hefty playing time here with Danielle Hunter out, so we'll see if he can boost past Danielle Hunter. Should be able to. Harrison Phillips with 1. Cam Bynum with 1. And then Troy Dye with a half sack, splitting the one with Andre Carter, of course. Interceptions, it's no stranger to being up here. Trayvon Diggs, league leading pick off specialist and team leading for the last 2 seasons. 11 picks through 5 games. 6 games. I keep forgetting. Holy moly. Now the question beckons. Trayvon Diggs, you've been offered 2 contracts by the Minnesota Vikings. You have declined both. The second one carrying a hefty 15.8. I think it was a $15 million contract increase with a bonus kicker, and you declined it. So what do the Minnesota Vikings do? Do they trade him at the trade deadline next week? Do they franchise tag him at the end of the year? I mean, you can't let this guy go. He is performing. He has 32 picks in the last 2 seasons, and my heavens, he is just so good for your team and a staple on this defense. We won't spend too much time on him, although he is one of the biggest questions in the offseason for this team, as most of the key parts have been re-signed. Jalen Johnson with 5, Cam Dantzler with 1. You'll get why I'm so frustrated with Cam Dantzler here in just a minute. Pass deflections, we have had a ton this season. 7 by Cam Dantzler. Makes it tougher to talk bad about this guy. He's got a pretty good stat line, but let me tell you, there's some things Randy doesn't like about his game. Eric Hendricks with 6. Trayvon and Jalen Johnson with 4. Javon Holland and Caleb Evans with 2. And then Lewis Seen with 1. Catches allowed? Okay, we won't go into that. Forced fumbles? 3 by Lewis Seen, 2 by Javon Holland, Kendricks, Wanham, and Roy. Also, Ika and Papo each have 1. And we've recovered most of them by way of Kendricks, Dantzler, Hunter, and Phillips. Also, Jordan Hicks. Block kicks, we just have 2, both of them coming in the Broncos game by way of Andrew Booth Jr. No safeties. One defensive touchdown by Danielle Hunter. I do believe it is the scoop and score on one of the first plays of the year, if I'm not mistaken. And that, of course, coming in the Week 4 game against the Rams this season. The kicking game has been up and down, mostly up, but Greg Joseph has definitely had some downs here this year. 16 for 7 on field goals, longest of 57, and then, of course, 41 for 42. I do believe he has an extra point blocked as well on extra points, and where he is missing is this 39 to 40 range, and then, of course, has an extra point missed as well. I do believe one block is not showing up there as well. Punting, Ryan Wright only 14 punts through 5 games, 598, netting 561. 5 of them going inside the 20, and then a touchback on one of them. Longest punt of the season, 51 yards. My goodness. Is there a way to see touchbacks? There is. 58 touchbacks for Greg Joseph. I do believe that will lead the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Oh. It's a 21 lead for touchbacks for Greg Joseph. Either way, going from punting, we go to kick return. Tyler Harrell, rookie kick returner. 38 kick returns, 839, longest of 35. Jalen Naylor, 1 for 3. Smith and Jigba, 1 for 2. JJ, 1 for 1 on these onside kicks here for the Vikings. And then KJ Osborne coughed up one in, I do believe this one was in the Broncos game. Coughed one up, and the Broncos will get the ball back off of that. Tyler Harrell, 6 punt returns, 31 yards, longest of 10 on his year. So that'll do it. We'll take a look at some team stats, and then we'll get you out of here. The Minnesota Vikings, in terms of offense, are number 2 in the NFL. Total yards of offense, 5,082. That is good enough for second in the NFL, as we mentioned. 4,206 offensive yards. That is split up by 2,784 in the air and 1,422 on the ground, averaging 57.8 points a game. Passing touchdowns, they have 29. 13 rushing touchdowns and 229 first downs gained. In the defensive category, it is very much different. We have allowed 3,892 yards, which second in the NFL in terms of the most yardage given up. So actually second worst defense in terms of yardage allowed total for the Vikings this season. Passing yards allowed 2,844. 1,048 yards rushing allowed. 293 points allowed. We have 13 QB sacks, 6 fumble recoveries, and 17 interceptions. Conversion rating for the Vikings. Third down percentage, we are third in the NFL at 57% clip. We are 54 of 94. Ouch. Who is the worst or the best in the NFL? Okay, so we are third worst in the NFL at, wait, okay, hold on. Damn it, I did that right. I'm an idiot. 3, 2, 1. Going at about a 57% clip, of course, good enough for third best in the NFL, as we just mentioned. 4-down conversions, we are 1 for 2. I'm going to let everybody do the math on that one. 2-point conversions, we are 0 for 1. Red zone efficiency, the Minnesota Vikings, in terms of percentages, near the bottom of the league. Yeah, 50%. We are 59 of 59 red zone trips. That, of course, is split up with 30 touchdowns and 9 field goals. So we leave about 20 drives on the year that does not end up in points, whether that be a pick, a turnover, or a missed field goal. You want to see that number higher. We're near the bottom half of the league. Red zone trips defensively. We have faced red zone teams 44 times. We have allowed 25 touchdowns and 8 field goals. So just giving up 11 or stopping 11, whether that be turnovers on downs, deflected passes, what have you. Good enough for 56 percentile in the league. Penalties, the Minnesota Vikings, I do believe for the second straight season, For the bye week extravaganza are the lowest penalized team in the league. We just have 6 for 55. And then the most being, quite fittingly, the Scumbags, 42 for 409. That's very nice. So for turnovers, we take a look at the take-give. The Minnesota Vikings are 4th best in the NFL. We are +8 in the take-give. That is 15 giveaways and 11 takeaways. Okay, so 15 giveaways, 11 picks, 4 fumbles, and 23 in takeaways, 17 defensive interceptions, and 6 fumble recoveries. So that, of course, giving us +8 in the take-give. 23 minus 15 is 8. So there you go. The worst team in terms of turnover differential are the Chiefs, -14. That being, of course, 34 giveaways and 20 takeaways. So there you go. There, the team, stats. Almost had to brain fart there, did Randy? And then I suppose we could take a look at league leaders while we're on the topic. For the NFL through 6 games, it's Desmond Ridder in terms of passing yardage, 3,359 yards, 22 touchdowns, 18 picks. Trevor Lawrence, my goodness, 2,879 yards, 31 touchdowns, 21 picks. The aforementioned Patrick, and the team that we traded for, giving up Anthony Richardson, turned out to be a good idea. The team is 2-4 through 6 games, I believe. That being the Chiefs, 2,610 yards, 24 and 24 even. So I do believe the Vikings got the better end of the deal, giving up a 1 Anthony Richardson and then DeMarvion Overshone in that trade as well. So rushing, Dalvin Cook, number 1 in terms of attempts and yardage. And then, of course, Anthony Richardson, a quarterback. So maybe this is where we missed the mark here. 88 carries, 867, and 13 touchdowns for a quarterback. So we play them in a couple weeks. This guy is prone to fumbling, but we definitely want to maintain the QB scramble and keep that in check. Jonathan Taylor Thomas is what we call him, 100 carries, 822. And then, of course, we don't see another user until Bijan Robinson, 190, 607, and 4 touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins, 93 carries, 509, 7. And then it kind of just falls off after that. So in terms of receiving, Jamar Chase, 61 catches rather. I don't know why I keep wanting to say carries. 2,224 yards through 6 games, 13 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, 46 catches, 11, 20, and 12 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 29 for 1,066 and 8 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 55 catches, 907 and 16 touchdowns. Jameson Williams, 27 for 718 and 4. Adam Thielen, 52 and 647 and 5 touchdowns. And then, like we mentioned before, it just kind of falls off after that. Cole Kmet, we just went over, 35 for 599 and 3 touchdowns. So the top 6 or 7 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, dominated by teams that we follow here. The kids would call them user-controlled teams. Nobody. Well, you heard it. Nobody cares about blocking, but just for S&Gs, we're going to take a look at most sacks given up, and it's Abraham Lucas. Good for him. Cares about blocking. Going to go to defense and look at total tackles, and it is Bolton and Fred Warner with 83 neck and neck. And, of course, Patrick Queen, Marcus Williams, Ernest Jones, Eric Kendricks, rounding out the top 6. Sack leader, well, no surprise, it's Nick Bosa. I do believe he led last year with around 23.5. Correct me if I'm wrong. This year, through 6 games, 14.5 sacks. Quinnen Williams gets 9. Burns with 8. So there is a lot of separation. Greg Rousseau, 5.5, the other team that we follow. And, well, you're not going to see his name, but it is Trayvon Diggs with 11. And then Byron Murphy Jr. with 7. Excuse me. Jeez. Legarius Sneed was 6. Randy Replay had a lot of ups and downs in this previous game, so a lot of excitement, but the team does fall, so it did a number on his voice. Jalen Johnson in there with 5. Jair Alexander with 5. Marcus Williams with 4. Marshawn Latimer with 4 as well. Noah Sewell, linebacker rookie, with 4. So it's littered. It's kind of scattered here, but it's littered with teams that we follow here in terms of picks. If you want to get into the nitty gritty, we'll see if any teams that we follow have any touchdowns. It's Byron Murphy with 3. Jair Alexander with 2. And then Sneed has 1. Antoine Winfield Jr. with 1 as well. So there you go. Kicking, terms of teams that we follow, with, I want to say 10. I think that's what we measure here. 10 or more. It is Charles Calhoun, 93% field goal make. I do believe that's going to be good for number 1 in the NFL. If you take into account, he's almost got double the amount of Greg Joseph. But either way, that puts him near the top. You got it. I say it's a tie. I mean, he's got almost twice the amount of kicks. He's only 1% lower. You do with that information with what you will. Daniel Schaefer, according to the NFL, with at least 10 attempts, is the number 1 kicker in the NFL. And then punting, it's Gillian with 26 punts, but in terms of yardage, Gillian will take the cake there as well. That's going to just about do it. Randy Replay's bye-week extravaganza wrapping up. Just as a reminder to fans, MinnesotaVikings.com/tickets. You have multiple tickets available in the family section, and then throughout the stadium for the Fan Appreciation Week. Next week is always the home game after the bye week, and Minnesota Vikings would like to extend a thank you to their fans in helping them become 5-1 this season and defending the North and remaining at that top spot. There will be roaming vendors with raffle tickets, free stuff for the kiddos outside on the plaza 3 hours prior to kickoff. And then, of course, discounts on tickets, concessions, and merchandise. This has been Randy Replay. Bye week over. Minnesota has 3 home games coming up against the Bears, the Chiefs, and the Cowboys, oh my. And then we start the playoff push. This has been Randy Replay. I will see you in the next one.